Welcome to The Resilient Realtor, where we gain insight, inspiration, and understanding of what makes a great real estate agent, interviewing agents of change. And now, the host of The Resilient Realtor, an award-winning veteran real estate agent and community leader, Kim Hayden.
All right. Welcome. I'm your host, Kim Hayden, and you are listening to the Resilient Series podcast. And I'm super excited to be able to share the message of resiliency and how people are finding their path through an unprecedented time. I mean, I don't know many people that have been around since 1918, but this is a new way of life. And with us today, I'm super excited. One of my personal friends and a gal that I really look up to. Her energy, I always explain her energy is like a bottle of Prosecco. It makes you smile and it's so bubbly. Lindsay White has had a journey herself. She has been in a space that has not been the most emotionally rewarding space, but has allowed her to real growth in her business and really sink her teeth into what makes amazing teams and workspaces be amazing. And COVID has brought an opportunity, and Lindsay's here to share with us how high voltage leadership has been shifted and redirected to embrace. Are you a pauser or are you pivoting? And how are you going to grow your company? And welcome, Lindsay. Thank you so much for taking this time out. I can't wait to hear you on the 6th live, rattle our cages and tell us how to bring in a kick-ass team. But share with us a little bit about where you were in 2018 and share us a little bit about the market that you're working in, because I think that's really what people need to know is the space that you are working in and how you're pivoting that full circle.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks a lot for having me, Kim. I was really excited to talk with you today and to talk a little bit about, sort of what I do with high voltage leadership. Because it is kind of unique in a lot of ways. So what I do is I combine professional leadership and executive coaching with what we would call in the business strategic talent management, or I call people strategy. So it is all about supporting a small business owner as they become and grow into their own leadership, brand, and style. Because so many small business owners do not get into business to be a leader. They have a passion, they have an idea, they have some genius they need to share with the world. And they grow these really beautiful little businesses. And then suddenly they have 25 people reporting to them and they don't know what to do. And it takes up all of their time. And suddenly their business is running their life. And so I love helping those people who are really successful and really driven and really interesting and quirky and fun to really find out what is going to make them a great leader. How do they need to show up in their life and their business to really feel successful, to really fall in love with their business again? And then I combine that with what is, for me, a 15-year background in human resources. So helping them create a strategy and a structure and a workflow and processes and programs that allow their culture to flourish, that allow their people to grow and to change and to shift, allow their businesses to be flexible and pivot as they need to. And so the practice of bringing those two things together, great leadership and great people strategy, enables small business to really drive their growth through the people that make it happen. And that's what I'm really passionate about doing.
And this is the culmination of, like you said, 15 years in HR.
Yeah.
So, and then the last 5 years. So tell us a little bit about your HR experience and what you've pulled from that, because it's almost like you're reverse engineering your market. It's
Totally.
just crazy. So can you tell me a little bit over the last 5 years? And when, like I said, it is no question, and I will be fully transparent. I took a pause in COVID. I took 3 months
Yeah.
where I'm sitting there going, oh my God, I can't hug anybody. I don't know how to finish a conversation without
Right.
hugging people. So,
Right.
so in a year when so many people have thrown their hands up or have beyond circumstances of their own making lost their businesses, you
Yeah.
have come out with a whole new message from almost like a foundation. It's almost like the last 5 years have prepped you for that. Can you share with us a little bit of the last 5 years and what you learned from that and what you're bringing in a almost like that reverse engineering kind of process
Yeah.
forward?
Yeah. So you're right. I mean, the last 5 years have been, have been some of the most dramatic of my personal and professional life. In that 5 years, we've faced some pretty significant trauma in our family. I'm a mother of four, first time grandmother this summer. And we had, two of our youngest children go through incredibly traumatic events with, lawyers and police and all sorts of crazy stuff. We had our youngest daughter was sexually assaulted. We were in the middle of a family custody battle. All the while, I was working in a job and for a leader who was incredibly toxic. Really, just someone who was a real gaslighter, to be perfectly honest about it. And I worked so hard in my corporate HR job to support and understand. And I found myself what I call being a shit Sherpa. I was carrying everybody else's emotional shit, right? So whether it was looking after my kid who was having a meltdown, trying to find her a counselor to support her through the trauma of an assault, trying to work through, our system, our legal system, which is just so tricky, trying to work through our family court system in a child support battle. And then I just couldn't take it anymore. And about 3 years ago, in the middle of one more meeting that should have been a memo, I quit. I said, that's it, I'm done. And I walked out on my carefully crafted corporate career. And I was in the job that I had dreamed of. It was really where I wanted to be, and I just couldn't tolerate it anymore. So I left. And I decided to throw myself wholeheartedly into my coaching certification, which I now have two internationally recognized designations. And at that point, I decided maybe I'm unemployable. Maybe I don't need to work for somebody else. Maybe I don't need to be somebody's shit Sherpa anymore. And if I'm going to carry somebody's shit around, it should be mine. So that's when I started high voltage leadership. And I started that with the intention of just doing pure coaching. I really couldn't, I was left with such a bad taste in my mouth, Kim. I didn't even think I wanted to do human resources or talent management ever again. And it's only a pivot that I've done when I recognized how small businesses really were missing this key piece. Like leadership is one thing. Being a leader in your life and your community and your business is important, but it's really the people that make your business run. They make your customers happy. They bring the culture. They create what you ideate. And that's where my pivot came from. As I recognized as I tried to build my own small business and I worked with other small business owners, that was the piece they were missing. And they didn't even know they were missing it. So it is through my own sort of struggles and times of difficulty that I uncovered my own resilience and what value I can really bring to some of the incredible small business owners that we have across the country.
So, what was the trigger that made you get out of your own way? That's the number one I see is people stand in their own path that leads to
Yeah.
their own personal greatness. What was it that you just enough is enough?
Yeah, such a great question. I think I finally recognized in that moment, in that meeting with that leader that I was working for, that I was working really hard and doing nothing that was adding value to my own life. And it came in a blinding flash. And I literally said to her, "You're right. I don't fit here anymore. I'm not the right person for this job." And I came home and my husband took one look at my face and said, "Well, what's going on?" And I said, "I think I just quit my job." But I literally could not tolerate it anymore. And I will tell you, Kim, I was mentally and physically and emotionally exhausted. And anyone who's worked in one of those toxic environments, and there's so many of us, I hear all the
Yep.
time. Yeah, right. There's
Yep.
so many of us that have worked for toxic leaders and in toxic environments, and it literally just leaches everything good out of your system. And it took me about 6 months to unwind from that.
And toxic clients, like
Yep.
knowing
Yeah,
knowing
totally.
knowing who to fire,
Yeah.
knowing what your message is. Like that
Yeah.
is, I find that people, when people start working in that mindset of disparity,
Yeah.
right? They
Yeah.
start, instead of plenty, that they start taking anybody into their space.
Yeah.
Anybody is, and they don't create the boundaries. They don't have the messaging. They don't say this is how we operate. This is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And so I like one of the first things I did when I set up my company for Resilient Series was to create my core values and to
Yeah.
understand what my mandate is and to truly understand what will be tolerated within my space and what will not be
Yeah.
tolerated within my space. So when you're screening your clients, so now let's take this from what you offer your clients to
Yeah.
how you yourself have pivoted and built your high voltage leadership
Yeah.
and how you've launched it. You just had an amazing, successful relaunch by leaning into your peers.
Yeah.
And uh, can you share with us a little bit about how you plan on or what you instruct your clients how to identify who may be a toxic or a non-compliant client?
Yeah, great question. So Kim, I'm with you. With all of my clients, no matter where they are in their own leadership journey or in their business life, we start with values, and and that is personal values. Because the truth is, especially when you're a small business owner, you are your business, and so
Yeah.
if you aren't, yeah, yeah, amen, right?
Amen.
So you have to know, and not just know, like to write them on a piece of paper, Kim. You have to live your values. You have to know how you bring those to your world every single day. You have to understand how they work together, how they conflict. You have to know and understand the golden thread that runs through them. You have to be able to learn from them and apply them and relish and live and stand in them every day. So that's where we start. And then we talk about purpose, right? What's your life purpose? Why are you here? Why are you doing this? Right? Simon Sinek, what's your why? And that's not, again, not just in your business, but in your personal life. Like, who are you? What and why are you doing this? What makes you who you are? When you're clear on that, you're right, Kim, the boundaries start to become a whole lot more defined and a whole lot more tangible. And then you can move that into your business and you can start to understand not just who are the clients you want to work with, who are the clients that just don't fit? What are you willing to tolerate and what are you not? And then why are you tolerating that? Personally and professionally, from your staff, from your clients, from your vendors, from your suppliers. Why are you tolerating any kind of behavior that doesn't align with your values? But how do you know that if you're not clear on them first?
Okay, so I have a question. And this is a
Yeah.
personal question. So they say that the majority of registered small business entrepreneurs are actually solopreneurs and female.
Yeah.
And yet we see the largest scalable financial growth in employees for men.
Hmm.
What do you think is, where do you think the disconnect is? What is the challenge that women face that that men don't when it comes to starting these small scale businesses and
Hmm.
scaling and growing?
Yeah, I mean that's a loaded question. My first, like, how long do we have, Kim? So
10
okay,
minutes.
so
Give me
10 minutes.
100
Okay,
years of information in 10 minutes, Lindsay. You
okay,
got
all right.
this.
So I will tell you the very first thing that comes to my mind, Kim, and this is endemic for females, whether we're working in a corporate environment or when we're in our own business, maybe even just as a solopreneur. We're running out of our kitchen, right? But the truth is, we know statistically that women will not apply for a job unless they believe they have greater than about 90% of the skills in that job description. Right. So we know that. Whereas men, it's like, well, I got, 50, 60%. I'll throw my hat in the ring. It's good. I'm good. I can do this. Like I can knock the rest of that out of the park. We don't do that as women. And I will tell you that I believe firmly that that applies to us and the way we operate in our businesses. If we don't believe that we are as close to 100% sure that we can do that thing or be that person or find the money or find the time or get the financing or open that store, we won't. We won't. That's the majority of us. Now we see those women who are big and they're bold and they take chances and we think, oh, they're amazing. They have all these things that I don't have. I can't be that. I'm not enough. And that's where the coaching comes in. Because I think for a lot of us deep down inside, we feel like we're an imposter. It took me 2 years to call myself an entrepreneur. It took me 2 years to call myself a small business owner. And I believe for a lot of women, that's exactly what it is. We don't think we're enough to do that. And the truth is, that's total bullshit. 100%.
I 110% agree. And I'm just going to put this out there. I'm 51 and only in like, honestly, I've done a lot. I've top 1% in real estate. I've I've created over 600 hours, 600? No, 300, 350 hours, over 60 some odd half hour episodes of broadcast television. And yet I always lived in that, why me? So now it is why not me? And I wrote it on my mirror. I in the last 18 months, I realized that if I don't do this, because I truly live in the collaborative space, you cannot live in the collaborative space and the competitive space. I believe, this is my personal belief, you cannot live, those two are not congruent words. They're, my competition is with myself. It should not be with others, because that what I bring to the table is very different. What I bring to the table is collaboration, because I truly believe that I surround myself with the best. And setting those boundaries. So when we're talking about boundaries and identifying yourself and putting yourself out there, what's that song? Who was it that sang the song? Haters gonna be haters, or that Taylor Swift?
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
What is it? Shake it off or shake it up, or oh my God, I'm so old. So when we think about that, I have a huge fear. Maybe we can talk about this. I have a huge fear personally of putting anything on social media, because it can be taken so wrong so quickly. Especially when I'm from Wichita, Kansas. My family straddles both sides of the political fence. And so you hate to even put a picture up where you're wearing a mask, because then there's going to be people going after you for wearing a mask, or if you put a picture up for not wearing a mask, if you put a picture up for eating French fries, so how do you handle this? Because I know logically social media is a part of our messaging.
Yep, sure is.
So what do you say to people like myself that have that fear of conflict with people?
Yeah. So first of all, let me be clear. I do not participate in political conversations in social media. I don't believe that those are the right spaces to have true connected conversations about the major issues, whether they're in Canada or the US. So I don't do that, because I just,
agree.
you're not going to have a great chat over Instagram DMs. Having said that, I also recognize that it's terrifying to put yourself out there on social media. So a couple years ago, I started doing what I call Manic Mondays. I do a video every Monday that is all about what it is like to be manic and a mother and a small business owner on a Monday morning. It's bananas, right? It's not motivational. It's not, magical. It's none of those things for me. It's straight up crazy. So the first couple times I did those videos, I thought, oh my God, I look ridiculous. I'm going to get so much static and feedback. People are going to laugh. They're going to be like, who do you think you are? Like, why are you doing this? You look ridiculous. You look terrible. You're an idiot. You know what the truth is? None of that happened. In fact, I have all sorts of people that say to me, if I do not have my video up by 10 a.m., where is it? I miss my Manic Monday. We create a story in our own head. We create a story in our own head, and that is fueled by our inner critic voice. Call it a gremlin, call it a saboteur, whatever it is. We have a voice in our head that wants to keep us safe, wants to keep us safe. And guess where's safe? Right here is safe. Whether you're stuck and miserable or you're happy, right here, right now, you're safe. You step outside of this little square that you're in, you're not safe anymore. So the little voice wants to keep you safe. And it tells you nobody wants to hear what you have to say. You're going to look a fool. People are going to bash you. People are going to make fun of you. People are going to call you out. Again, it's all garbage. It's all in your head. It's all a story. And it is all about controlling and learning to turn the volume down on that voice. That's what I work with all of my clients. Doesn't matter what they do, what stage of life they're in. They're a C-suite executive. They started their own business. They want to make, they want to get that, business they're running off the kitchen counter out into the world. All of them. There's all that voice in your head. It's a story and it's not true, but we listen to it because it's in there. It's so pervasive and it's so loud for so many of us. And sometimes it takes on the voice of a parent, a teacher, a coach, someone who told us that we couldn't or shouldn't do that. And we hear that voice over and over and over again. And it's all bullshit. And it holds us back. It holds us back from putting that picture out there. It holds us back from doing that video. It holds us back from hiring that first employee so that we can really get our business going, right? It holds us back. It's trying to keep us safe, which is awesome. But in the same token, it's all bullshit.
That makes absolute sense. Absolute sense. Okay, so you stay pretty high energized, and you have to in order to be
Yeah.
in this position that you're in. Who do you listen to?
Yeah. So I was
Who's your
just,
top 3 podcast or
yeah.
what? Let's go through. I want to know who fuels your fire.
Yeah. So I was just listening to Brene Brown. I love her. If I lived in Texas, I would totally stalk her. Dr. Brown, be aware if I come to Texas,
Just
I'm
so
going to
you
find
know,
you.
Brene Brown is on my 2022 hit list for
Yeah.
a forward on any one of the books. I love her
I
too.
love it. I love her. I really do because she is so brave. She is so vulnerable, but she is also wicked smart. Like this, everything she does is grounded in research and science and the truth, right? She's after the truth and then she connects it all with story. And that's what I love about her. She makes everything she does incredibly approachable and incredibly like she shows vulnerability in every word she writes or speaks.
And she also is, I think, in many ways gender neutral.
Yeah.
My sons have watched her special on Netflix with me. My husband's
Beautiful.
watched it twice with me. I think her
Beautiful.
message is so human.
Yeah.
It's not a biasness in there. It's
No.
just human. I
Yeah.
totally agree with you.
No, that
Okay.
is exactly it. It is totally, totally human. And that's why I absolutely love her. What else? I've been listening lately to Building a Story Brand with Donald Miller. Story Brand, it has been, again, amazing. Love the element of story in how we talk to our clients, how I talk to my clients. I have a story. And I love the way he helps you articulate what your story is and really connect that to those most important people, the people that you want to, you really believe you have something to share with. It's heart-centered selling. And that's what I love because I'm not a salesperson, right? I don't want to sell. I want to connect. I want to collaborate. I want to help. I'm a servant at heart, right? I want to serve people and I know what I have as value. Truth be told, I'm not very good at telling people what the value is. I got to get better at that. And I love the way he approaches it. So he's one of my favorite podcasters right now. And then who else? Who else do I really love? I love a lot of people. Um, who else do I really love? I got to be honest, I love Oprah. I love that Oprah she interviews just a ton of different people on a ton of different topics. And so I find I listen to a lot of her Super Soul Sunday because there's always inspiration. There's always someone different to listen to. And you don't have to listen to them in any order. There's
Yeah.
the only theme is love and connection. And so you can pick up one of those Super Soul Sunday podcasts. You can listen to it while you're on a walk. You can listen to it while you're doing the dishes. And you always come away, you learn a little something, something, and you feel amazing.
Okay. Books. What are the top three that you think
Oh,
every person should read as a entrepreneur, as a woman, as a mother? Like what is it that the three books that resonate?
yeah. So the newest one, which is actually a really old book, is called The E Myth. So you've probably read this, Cam. This is actually something pretty new to me because the truth is I'm a relatively new entrepreneur. Right? I've only been doing this for a few years. But I'm reading that book right now, and it just makes so much sense to me. So much sense. It's like timeless a bit, right? Even though it was written, I don't know how many years ago. Lots.
90s. Was it 90s?
Yeah, like so, 20 some
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
The other one I'm reading recently is called Known by Mark Schaefer, who is also like a marketing thought leader. Really amazing, approachable guy. I just actually was in a bit of a workshop with him the other day, organized through one of the master classes that I'm in. Wonderful fella, and really down to earth advice in terms of how to approach your brand and market what you do again in that very approachable very authentic way, which is really important to me. Authenticity in my approach to my clients is super key.
Yep.
So reading that book, love that book.
Now I have you looking around.
I know. So the other book that I really like, it's called Fierce Conversations. And this is one that speaks to me in terms of the leadership work that I do, because one of the pieces that we miss, whether we're dealing with our team, our clients, our vendors, is the ability to have a fierce conversation, a true, honest, unvarnished conversation about what is happening and how to do that in an unemotional way. So what I find is that there's a couple different camps. Either we're those people where we don't want to talk about hard things because we don't want conflict. And I'm using air quotes.
Yeah.
Conflict. We look at the word conflict, we connotate in a negative, aggressive way. Or we are the opposite, which is we just go after people. We just chew them up. Yeah, I totally went up one side of him and down the other, right? There is a big space in between where we can have really great, really difficult conversations in a really open and honest and unvarnished way. And the truth is, it just takes a little practice and a little skill. And this book, Fierce Conversations, teaches you how to do that. And it is applicable in every single place in your life. That's the amazing. It's a business book, but if you can have a great conversation that is fierce with your partner, with your kids, with your sister, with your auntie, with your business partner, with your team, everybody benefits from that conversation.
Amazing. Absolutely. Totally agree. And the more you take control or take charge of that space, the less disappointed in the results, right?
Exactly.
Um, oh, the sun just came out. Oh, okay.
Right?
So let me ask you. So we've gone over what feeds your brain, what you listen to, what you're reading. What's the mantra of what you live your life by? And I know this shifts as we get older and as we grow through our experiences.
Yeah.
What right now is what your guiding message to yourself? If you had to write
Yeah.
a quote on your bathroom mirror, what would it be?
Yeah. So, part of the leadership practice and the coaching style that I subscribe to is we create what we call life purpose statement, and that is the measuring stick for me. right? And it's actually one of the things that I do with all of my clients. Again, we have to know what our purpose is in this world. Like, why are we here? So that's something that I carry with me all the time. And my life purpose statement is that I am the high voltage extension cord that connects you to your inner brilliance. So for me, it is all about connection. Being high voltage is authentic, which is one of my core values. It's all about serving others to help them connect to what's brilliant for them on the inside, and bringing that to the world, right? So that life purpose statement for me, that defines everything that I do. And if it does not match up to that, then I got to question whether it's something I need in my life.
That is, wow. Wow. That is, I 110, that's a great statement, actually.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, is there anything you are just dying to share? Anything that you'd like to share at this point?
Yeah, I guess, I am so sincere in believing that every small business needs to have great leadership, and inspiring people strategy, and a culture that everyone can thrive in. And if something is missing in your business and you cannot figure out why you are not successful, I think you got to step back, and that's what you got to look at, right? Are you enabling your people? Are you enabling yourself? Are you showing up the right way? And I am so passionate about that. That is a message that I want to bring to every single small business, particularly the ones that are run by women, because we doubt ourselves way too much. And we
Oh,
have great power that we do not access nearly often enough.
I 110% agree on that. Um, and can you share with us where we can find you online? How can we reach out? Somebody
Yeah,
out there is ready. How do we reach out?
absolutely. Absolutely. So the website is highvoltageleadership.com. I'm on Instagram at High Volt Coach. I'm on Facebook at High Voltage Leadership, and you can find me on LinkedIn as well. And I'll make sure, Kim, that you have an email address that people can reach me directly. I always enjoy connecting. That is a major, major value for me. And I love to hear from people, even if it's just to ask a few questions or have a little virtual coffee chat. So please do reach out and connect with me. I'd love to hear from everyone.
Amazing. Again, in the famous words of Brene Brown, I want to thank you for sharing the one most valuable non-renewable resource you have, your time.
Thank you.
People need to hear what you're saying and what all the other amazing women out there, entrepreneurs, are saying, and how we're going to lead after this crazy world that we're seeing, this new evolution, right?
Right.
And so again, I want to thank everybody for joining us here at the Resilient series, and understanding that we are seeking the emerging, or the leadership voices out there that can help us move forward, because we do believe in a world of noise and nonsense. You need to be the voice that's heard and valued. So again, I'm Kim Hayden, your host, and thank you so much for sharing your time with us here at the Resilient series.
Thank you for joining us today. Until next time, be an agent of change.